For our second piece, we're going to cover Billies Bounce by Charlie Parker. This is a fantastic tune based on a blues in F, and it covers a lot of the fundamentals of playing jazz blues or swing blues. Let's start out with a basic blues in F, not throwing in any of our jazzy extras just yet. We'll use 3-note voicings to begin with, and then we'll build things up from there. Let's think in terms of just 1, 4, 5. F7 is the 1, B flat 7 is the 4, C7 is the 5. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 4, 1, back to the 4, to the 1, 5, 4, 1, 5, back to the top. Now let's start to add a few elements to jazz it up a little bit. In the 4th bar, we're going to play a 2-5 that resolves to the B flat 7 in bar number 5. So that's C minor 7, F7, 2 beats on each, resolving to bar number 5, the B flat 7. In bar number 6, instead of just holding on to this B flat 7, we're going to move the bass note up a semitone. Keep your other 2 notes. Now you've got B diminished 7. Then in bar number 7, we are going to play our original F7 chord, but we're going to put C in the bass, the 5th of the chord. This creates this nice smooth leading line in the bass. And in bar number 8, we're going to play another 2-5, A minor 7 for 2 beats, D7 for 2 beats. Bar number 9, we play the actual 2 of the key, G minor 7 for 4 beats, and then we play the 5, the C7 for 4 beats. So the A minor 7 and the D7 that were in bar number 8, those are the 2-5 of the 2 chord, the G minor 7. C7 is the 5, of course, and then 1 will be F, but we'll resolve to this F major triad with the 3rd in the bass, the F over A chord. And then we're going to go into a little turnaround run. D7, G minor 7, C7. So let's up the tempo and play through those changes. If you want to get hold of the lesson materials for this, please do check out my Patreon page at the link in the description. There you'll have access to all of my lesson materials for this lesson, last lesson, all lessons going back and all lessons going forward. It doesn't cost much per month and you get everything. You get all the sheet music, all the backing tracks, all the song files, and much more. There'll be bonus things on there too, of course, transcriptions and Q&As and gear videos or whatnot. Maybe a few cat videos. Now before we move on to the next level, chord-wise, let me show you some nice little tricks using these 3-note voicings. When you're playing a 2-5, C minor 7 to F7, for example, you can put some moving lines in the middle on the D string. It's taking us from a C minor, just a triad, to an F7, so there's your 2-5. You can also add a walk down on the D string. 10, 9, 8, 7. Again, that takes you from a C minor to a C minor major 7, C minor 7, F7 at the end. This is also called a line cliche. Now it's also worth taking that previous set of changes and moving some of the shapes up the fretboard instead of down the fretboard. For example, F7, B flat 7, F7, 2, 5, B flat 7, B diminished, F7 over C, but then A minor 7 up here. So I moved the A minor 7 to the A string, D7 was then on the E string, and then same a whole tone lower for your G minor 7 and your C7, resolving to an F major triad, this time with the 5th in the bass, the C, instead of the A, 3rd in the bass we had earlier. Okay, next step with these chords, let's fill them out a little more, let's maybe bring in some different colours here and there. A common thing in swing blues is to not just default to dominant sevenths all the time, but to use things like sixths. So let's say that our 1 chord is going to be F6. We're going to play a bar of that. Then instead of 4 beats on B flat 7, we're going to split that in half and do the same movement as we did in the longer run earlier on, where you've got the B flat 7 for 2 beats, move the bass note up to B, you get B diminished for 2 beats, and then resolve to the F6. So the first 3 bars of your 12 bar now would sound something like this. In bar number 4, we're going to play F7 for 2 beats. Then we're going to alternate the bass to the 5th. You know, that's a very common idea. But we're only going to do 1 beat, and then we're going to drop the bass note another semitone, position the fingers in a way that allows you to retain all the rest of those notes. Now you've got your tritone substitution for the F7. Now remember that I do have a video on tritone substitution if you want to know more about that. Just click here to check it out. So we end up with this B7, flat 5, or sharp 11, however you might want to look at it. That's going to lead you beautifully down to your 4 chord, the B flat 7. Okay, now we're in bar number 5, we're going to hold on to that. And then just like before, climb the bass up a semitone but retain everything else. And you get your B diminished 7. Then F6. And then we're going to go A minor 7. This time we've added the B string, 5th fret. And then D7, we're adding the 4th fret of the B to give us the flattened 9th. So A minor 7, D7 flat 9, G minor 7, C9. And then our turnaround, we're going to play F6, D7 flat 9, G minor 7, C7. Now just to go back to this F6, this is one of the most useful voicings for playing swing music of all styles really, from the gypsy stuff to the bebop stuff. It's a bit of a finger test, a bit of a finger wrangler. So the way I'd recommend learning to build this shape is this way. 2nd finger bars the 3rd fret on the A and D strings, just with the tip of the finger. Make sure you keep it arched, don't let it flatten down and block the strings underneath. 1st finger plays your major 3rd, the A note, at the 2nd fret of the G string. 3rd finger bars the 2 thinnest strings at the 3rd fret. Then, if you can, bring the thumb over to add the bass note, the F. Really useful jazz voicing, and that would be a 6-9 chord. So in this case, F6-9. For Billies Bounce though, we're not going to play that 9 on the top. We'll keep the E string dead, so our chord will just be F6. So now all together we've got this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. So a couple of little things. Second time round I used a different turnaround. I went 3, 6, 2, 5, and then instead of finishing on the F down here, I went to this F13 voicing, which is a really nice voicing on the middle string set. A string 6th fret, D string and G string at the 7th fret, 6th fret of the B. If you're familiar with this F13 down here, it's just the top 4 strings of that voicing. Now this piece sounds good at basically any tempo, but we're going to slow it down a tiny bit from the Charlie Parker tempo. We're going to go for about 165 BPM, something like that. So do practice those chord changes with your metronome. Try and get a feel for where beats 2 and 4 are. Maybe try and tap your foot on those beats rather than tapping on every beat of the bar. Especially at these faster tempos, it can get frantic if you're bouncing your feet on the floor every single beat. So I'll do a quick demonstration on how you want to practice this. I'm using a metronome app on my phone. Start off with it set to 165 BPM. Now I'm going to mute out beats 1 and 3. So there's 2 and 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's speak for a moment about what makes this a jazz blues, what we've done to jazzify a standard blues. It all comes down to bars 8, 9 and 10. If you think about the original bar 9 and 10 in a 12 bar, typically you have the 5 chord and then the 4 chord. So in the key of F, that would be C7 to B flat 7. Now in a jazz blues, what we do is we move that 5 chord from bar 9 into bar 10 instead, replacing the 4 chord, which leaves bar 9 free for a 2. If the 5 is C7, G minor 7 is 2. We're in the key of F, so 2, 5. Okay, so bars 9 and 10, instead of this, 5, 4, you're going to end up with 2, 5. Now that gives us a chance to do something interesting in bar 8. In bar 8, we can set up the G minor 7 that is waiting for us in bar 9 by playing its 5. So if you're in G or G minor, the 5 will be D7. So we play D7 in bar 8. So if you're in G or G minor, the 5 will be D7. So we play that in bar number 8. We could just do a whole bar of it. So bars 8, 9 and 10 could end up being this. And from a lead point of view, that might be a good way of looking at it, to simplify a little bit. But what we do is the typical jazz thing of if we can play a 5, we can play a 2 as well and make it a 2-5. So in bar 8, we're going to split that D7 into half, just play the last 2 beats of the bar there, and the first 2 beats, A minor 7. So now you're doing a 2-5 into the 2 chord that waits for us in bar 9. So bars 8, 9 and 10 are going to be this. And then you can hear the need to resolve to F. It's also worth mentioning that with that D7 chord, because it's resolving to a minor, you might want to experiment with putting some altered intervals in there. You know, we've gone for a flat 9. You could also use a sharp 9, a sharp 5 as well. It's kind of up to you really. You can mess around with flat 5 and a sharp 9, or flat 5 and a flat 9, flat 9 and a sharp 5. Any combination. I would typically avoid the natural 9 if you know that you're resolving to a minor chord next. It can sound a little odd sometimes. So those are the chords for Billies Bounce covered. Do learn these at various tempos. The head that we'll be learning next week is at 165 BPM-ish. So of course get them comfortable at that tempo too. But don't neglect playing them slow. Slow blues at 90 BPM is brilliant. And remember that this, although we're saying it's Billies Bounce, this is just a generic 12-bar blues in F that's going to work a lot of the time if you're jamming blues stuff. Also remember that if you want to support this channel and the work that I do, just like and subscribe, leave a comment. It helps massively. Or check out the Patreon that I've opened, where you can get unlimited access to all the lesson materials for all of these videos for a cheap monthly cost. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.